Well, I'm not very happy. I mean, there is a willful attempt by a very dishonest political class to overthrow one of the major aspects of the referendum. Both sides made it clear, if we voted to leave, we were leaving the single market. And I now sense there's a majority in Parliament that, despite that vote, want to keep us in the single market with free movement of people.
But the High Court ruling, in essence, was quite simple and I suppose is following the rules. And part of the whole campaign for Brexit was that we wanted British rules, British justice for British people. And in a sense, this is part of it, isn't it? We've got to accept what our judges are telling us.
Well, I'm not so sure I have confidence in the independence of our judiciary anymore. I mean, look, a Prime Minister needs to be able to make decisions, and morally, the country has voted. My concern is that if we put this back into the House of Commons, into the hands of our political class, frankly, we risk being betrayed.
OK, let's speak to Stephen Kinnock about that, because, Stephen, of course, you were on the other side of the campaign. You vehemently campaigned to remain. Despite that, your constituents voted that they wanted to leave. Nigel Farage thinks there's a willful attempt here to derail what is happening in and the majority's choice to leave Europe. When it comes down to it, would you vote against triggering Article 50?
No, I wouldn't. I'd be absolutely clear. I did campaign passionately for Remain, but I believe absolutely that the people have spoken. We must leave the European Union. And if I were presented just with a binary question in Parliament, would you now, tomorrow, trigger Article 50 or not, I would absolutely vote to trigger it. I just think that would be a real missed opportunity. What we voted for is to, take back control, which was at the heart of the Leave campaign, and to me that means Parliament, the British Parliament, being sovereign, having an opportunity to debate these incredibly important issues about our future relationship with the rest of the European Union. This is the most important decision we've taken since the Second World War.
Yeah, Stephen Kinnock, isn't that part of the problem, though, that now those 17.4 million people who voted for it will be feeling this morning, is that, hang on a minute, that there were 480 MPs out of 600 odd who were Remainers. So if this goes into Parliament now, if the Supreme Court upholds this ruling, then actually there will be essentially filibustering. There will be people bringing up amendments. There will be, at best, there will be a great watering down of what Brexit means because of the power that these MPs will now have, in a sense, over the rights and the will of the people who have already spoken.
Well, I just hope that people will trust Parliament. I think this is an opportunity to start rebuilding some trust between our democratically elected institutions and the rest of the country. And it's going to be up to Theresa May to show that leadership, that she's ready to start reuniting the country. The best way to do that is trust Parliament to have a sober debate, a constructive debate, which is about helping to give Theresa May a stronger mandate as she goes into these negotiations. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I believe that Article 50 has to be triggered. I will vote for the triggering of Article 50, but I also believe that there's due process here for our sovereign Parliament, and that's what we voted for on the 23rd of June.
Let's go back to Nigel Farage then, because Mr Farage, from your perspective, you understand that actually in terms of mandate, and Stephen Kinnock talking about that Theresa May needs to be trusted, you'd quite like to see Theresa May call a snap election, which in theory would allow her, if the polls are to be believed, although often polls can be wrong, polls to be believed, she would get a stronger mandate because she'd have more MPs.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good, Stephen Kinnock saying, trust us. Believe me, Mr Kinnock, we don't. And whilst I accept that you will vote to trigger Article 50, I suspect that you're one of those MPs who thinks that we should not be leaving the single market. And that's why I don't trust Parliament on this. Yes, the neatest, cleanest way to finish this off is for May to call a general election on the basis that Brexit means Brexit, to get a majority and to get on with it. The problem is that the previous Parliament put through the Fixed Term Parliaments Act, and to get that through, she would need the support of Labour MPs. So we are in a bit of a pickle, and I really do think that you should not underestimate just how angry those 17.4 million people are going to be if Brexit doesn't really mean Brexit.
And Brexit is a long-term project. It's not about whether prices go up a few percent.